Hello and welcome. I'm Fahd Husain. Tonight I want to begin with something personal. In 2002, I graduated from Columbia University Graduate School of Journalism in New York. And I was hired by CBS News at one of the most consequential moments in modern history. 9/11 had just happened, and this was a run-up to the Iraq War. I worked inside the CBS News headquarters in New York at a time when American television news still carried a certain institutional weight. You could disagree with its politics, you could question its assumptions, but there was still a visible culture of verification, editorial caution, and internal debate. There were layers of scrutiny before a sensitive story could go on air. And that is why what we are seeing today at the same CBS that I worked for is so striking. Because the CBS that once prided itself on journalistic rigor is now increasingly becoming a network consumed by ideological battles, collapsing credibility, and editorial activism masquerading as reporting. Over the past year alone, some of the most respected figures associated with programs like 60 Minutes have publicly raised concerns about editorial interference and loss of independence. Executive producer Bill Owens resigned, saying he could no longer make independent editorial decisions. At the center of this transformation is Bari Weiss. She's a deeply polarizing ideological figure whose rise inside CBS has triggered serious debate within American journalism itself. Critics inside and outside the network increasingly accuse the new CBS leadership of pushing coverage in a more openly pro-Israel, pro-Zionist direction, especially, of course, on the Middle East issues. Reports in major international publications now describe newsroom tension over the Israel-Gaza coverage, editorial interventions, and even the sideline and firing of veteran journalists. And tonight, Pakistan has become the latest target of what appears to be this increasingly agenda-driven style of reporting. CBS published a sensational story implying suspicious Iranian military activity inside Pakistan, specifically regarding Iranian aircraft at Noor Khan Air Base, while strongly hinting at military dimensions without producing convincing public evidence. The story quickly generated speculation internationally. Now, Pakistan has categorically rejected the report in a very logical manner. In a sharply worded official response, the Foreign Office called the CBS report misleading and sensationalized, saying it appeared aimed at undermining ongoing diplomatic efforts for regional stability and peace. Pakistan clarified that aircraft from both Iran and the US had arrived during the Islamabad talks process to facilitate diplomatic personnel, logistics, and security coordination linked to negotiations after the ceasefire. The statement further says that the Iranian aircraft currently parked in Pakistan arrived during the ceasefire period and have no linkage whatsoever to any military contingency or preservation arrangement. Pakistan says any suggestion otherwise is speculative, misleading, and entirely detached from factual context. It also reiterates that Pakistan has maintained transparency with all relevant parties while continuing its role as a facilitator for dialogue and de-escalation. Now think about what this tells us. Pakistan today is not a bystander in this crisis. Islamabad has emerged as one of the very few capitals still maintaining channels with Washington, with Tehran, with Beijing, and with the Gulf states simultaneously. Pakistan's mediation role has become strategically important precisely because tensions remain dangerously high and direct diplomacy remains fragile. And yet, instead of carefully examining that diplomatic role, CBS News chose a dramatic narrative built around insinuation, mystery, suspicion, and frankly, fake news. This is exactly the broader problem confronting sections of Western media today. Too many major outlets no longer approach complex geopolitical stories with intellectual humility. They approach them with pre-written assumptions. Countries outside the Western alliance system are often framed not through evidence, but through suspicion. And when journalism begins with a conclusion instead of a question, credibility inevitably collapses. I say this tonight not as an outsider attacking CBS, but as someone who actually worked there and was proud of it. And honestly, watching what has happened to this institution, CBS, over the past 2 decades is to me deeply, deeply disappointing.